Deep within the silent, starlit expanse of his temple, Beerus stirs from a slumber that was intended to last much longer. A ripple of power, insignificant by his own divine standards but remarkably sharp for a mortal, disturbs the tranquil cosmic tides and pulls him back to consciousness. He sits up groggily, his purple skin cast in the soft glow of the nebula outside, feeling a lingering sense of irritation that his dreams of a legendary rival have been interrupted. Beside him, Whis observes with a calm, knowing smile as the God of Destruction struggles to reclaim the sleep that has already fled his mind. Beerus grumbles about a premonition involving a Saiyan, a thought that sticks in his mind like a stubborn splinter even as he tries to ignore it. The boredom of his temple eventually becomes too much to bear, and Beerus decides to investigate the source of the disturbance that woke him. He commands Whis to set a course for Earth, a tiny blue speck in the universe where two familiar, cold energies are currently clashing with something entirely new. As they traverse the stars in a blur of light, Beerus wonders if the spectacle will be worth the effort or if he will simply find another disappointment. They arrive in the Earth's atmosphere, just in time to witness the final moments of a battle. Watching from a distance as a young, lavender-haired warrior effortlessly dismantles the remains of King Cold, Beerus hovers in the sky, his large ears twitching as he eavesdrops on the conversation taking place below among the shocked Z-fighters. His curiosity turns into a sharp, icy anger when he hears the teenage boy discuss his origins from a future timeline and the medication he brought for a man named Goku. To a god of destruction, the concept of mortals manipulating the flow of time is not just a nuisance, it is a direct violation of divine law. He narrows his eyes, his tail flicking with agitation, as he realizes these mortals are casually breaking the fundamental rules of the multiverse. Stepping forward from the shadows of the nearby cliffs, Beerus walks toward the gathered group with an air of absolute authority that freezes the air around them. The Z-fighters look on in confusion at the sight of a thin, purple, cat-like being in Egyptian finery, but Vegeta is instantly paralyzed by a primal, ancestral terror. Vegeta knows exactly who has descended upon them, his body shaking, as he recognizes the being who once treated his father like a common pet. Beerus ignores the others and focuses his gaze on the boy from the future, demanding to know if he truly mentioned the existence of a time machine. The teenage boy, confused and unaware of the danger he is in, pulls a small capsule from his pocket and confirms that it contains his vessel. Before anyone can react, Beerus raises a hand and erases the capsule from existence with a casual flick of his wrist, leaving the boy staring at his empty palm in total shock. The boy's face pales as he realizes his only way home has been obliterated in a second by this stranger. Anger flares in the boy's eyes as he prepares to defend himself against this inexplicable assault on his mission. Future Trunks transitions from his base form to become Super Saiyan Future Trunks. The atmosphere explodes with pressure as his hair flashes into a brilliant gold and a jagged yellow aura surrounds his body. Super Saiyan Future Trunks glares at Beerus, his teeth grit in a snarl of defiance, ready to strike the being who just trapped him in the past. However, Vegeta finds his voice and screams to Super Saiyan Future Trunks to stand down, his voice cracking with a desperation that the group has never heard before. Vegeta frantically explains to the confused warriors that Beerus is the god of destruction, and that a single whim from him could result in the total annihilation of their planet. Super Saiyan Future Trunks hesitates, his golden aura flickering as he looks at the sheer dread on his father's face. Beerus raises his hand once more, holding it inches from the face of Super Saiyan Future Trunks, a glow of purple destruction energy dancing on his fingertips. He tells them that the price for time travel is death, but he offers a single, narrow chance for survival. Beerus demands that they provide him with information regarding a Super Saiyan God, a title that leaves the Z-fighters completely bewildered. They explain that they know of the transformation Super Saiyan Future Trunks is currently using, but Beerus scoffs at the suggestion that such a weak mortal power could be the god he seeks. He moves his hand closer to Super Saiyan Future Trunks, preparing to end the boy's life for his ignorance and his crimes against time. Just then, another capsule falls from the pocket of Super Saiyan Future Trunks, rolling across the grass. A small portable refrigerator pops into existence, and Beerus pauses, his nose twitching at the scent of something interesting. He reaches inside and finds a canned drink labeled He Tap. Cracking it open and taking a long, contemplative sip, the flavor is unlike anything he has tasted in his long life, a sweet relief that causes his irritation to melt away momentarily. He decides that for the sake of Earth's cuisine, he will spare them for now, but he warns that Super Saiyan Future Trunks will die if they do not find the Super Saiyan God soon. After Beerus and Whis depart for the time being, a heavy silence falls over the group as they process the impossible situation they are in. Super Saiyan Future Trunks is consumed by a cold fury, feeling the weight of his mother's sacrifices and the loss of his home timeline. He vows to himself that he will not just find the Super Saiyan God, he will become it, and use that power to kill the arrogant deity who treated his life like a game. Vegeta chuckles darkly at the boy's ambition, skeptical that any mortal could kill Beerus, but he is intrigued by the prospect of a new level of Saiyan power. The group gathers the Dragon Balls and summons Shenron to ask about the ritual required to reach this divine state. The Great Dragon explains that 5 righteous Saiyans must pour their hearts into a 6th to create the Super Saiyan God. The Z Fighters realize they have a problem, as they only have 4 Saiyans available: Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, and Super Saiyan Future Trunks. They decide to spend the coming years training and searching for a solution, hoping that another Saiyan might somehow appear. Years pass as the threat of the androids looms in the distance, and the pressure from Beerus remains a constant shadow. In this timeline, Bulma is pregnant, but to Future Trunks' surprise, the child is later born as a girl named Bulla instead of the version of himself he expected. Vegeta is driven by a singular focus to complete the ritual, and his desperation leads him to reveal a secret he has kept hidden for a long time. He admits to the group that his father long ago exiled an extraordinarily powerful Saiyan named Broly to a harsh, distant world. Goku is energized by this news and immediately teleports to King Kai's planet to seek guidance in locating this long-lost Saiyan. King Kai, fearful of the God of Destruction's temper, quickly points Goku toward a remote, stormy world where Broly has been surviving in isolation. After a brief trip through the vacuum of space via instant transmission, Goku returns to Earth with a quiet, gentle-looking Saiyan in tow. Broly is nothing like the battle-hardened warriors the group expected, possessing a kind nature that seems entirely alien to the Saiyan race. With Broly's arrival, the group finally has the necessary number of Saiyans to attempt the ritual. Beerus and Whis return to Earth, their presence causing the very air to vibrate with tension as they wait for the mortals to fulfill their promise. Beerus reminds them that if the ritual fails, the life of Super Saiyan Future Trunks is forfeit. The 5 Saiyans, Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, Broly, and a pregnant Bulma contributing through her unborn child, join hands and circle around Super Saiyan Future Trunks. The golden light of his previous form is replaced by a serene, flaming crimson aura that feels weightless and terrifyingly vast. The muscles of Super Saiyan God Future Trunks lean out, and his hair turns a vibrant shade of red, while his eyes take on a sharp, divine clarity. The Z Fighters find that they can no longer sense the energy of Super Saiyan God Future Trunks, as his power has ascended into the realm of the gods. Beerus is genuinely impressed by the transformation, and engages Super Saiyan God Future Trunks in a brief but earth-shaking sparring match. The God of Destruction can feel the raw potential radiating from the boy, and he decides to let Super Saiyan God Future Trunks live, provided he never attempts to travel through time again. Beerus tells them he will visit occasionally for more food, but for now he wants to see how they handle the upcoming threat of the androids. He watches from afar as the mechanical monsters finally emerge to terrorize the world. When Android 17 and Android 18 arrive, they are far more powerful than the version Super Saiyan God Future Trunks remembers from his own future. Dr. Gero had spent years researching the group, and had managed to adjust his creations to account for the divine energy he observed during their training. As the battle begins, a strange green-skinned creature named Cell arrives earlier than expected, seeking to absorb the androids to reach his perfect form. Cell, originating from a different timeline, is completely unaware of the god-tier power that now exists on this Earth. Cell attempts to ambush Android 17, but the cyborg is significantly faster and stronger than the creature anticipated. Android 17 laughs at the insect-like monster, trapping Cell within a shimmering green barrier before detonating a massive wave of energy that obliterates the creature entirely. High above the planet, Beerus watches the destruction through Whis' staff, finding himself amused by the ingenuity of the mortal doctor who created such powerful cyborgs. He settles back to enjoy the spectacle, eager to see if Super Saiyan God Future Trunks and his allies can survive the mechanical storm they have brought upon themselves. Goku awakes within the sterile, quiet walls of Capsule Corp, gasping as the final, icy grip of the heart virus dissipates from his chest. The morning sun streams through the windows, illuminating the concerned faces of his friends as they recount the nightmare that unfolded during his slumber. His eyes widen in genuine disbelief when he hears that the androids possess power capable of rivaling a god, a feat that seems impossible even for the most advanced technology. Despite the gravity of the news, a familiar spark of Saiyan competitive spirit flickers in his gaze, though the realization that his family has been living in terror while he was incapacitated weighs heavily on his heart. The group gathers in a wide, grassy clearing far from the city, the air thick with the scent of ozone and the weight of their collective hope. 5 Saiyans of righteous heart form a circle around their leader, their hands outstretched as they begin the ancient mystical ritual to beckon forth the aura of the heavens. Goku transforms from his base form into Super Saiyan God. Goku, a pillar of crimson fire, erupts from his body, turning the surrounding flora to ash and bathing the horizon in a shimmering ruby glow that pulses with a serene yet terrifying energy. Super Saiyan God Goku flexes his hands, marveling at the weightless, divine power that now flows through his veins, a sharp contrast to the jagged, straining intensity of his previous forms. The ritual continues as the group turns their focus toward the Prince of Saiyans, the atmosphere humming with a melodic, divine vibration that makes the very earth tremble. Vegeta transforms from his base form into Super Saiyan God Vegeta. His hair shifts to a regal shade of magenta, and his eyes take on a calm, piercing clarity that reflects a soul touched by the gods. Gohan and Broly watch with a mixture of profound awe and a stinging sense of disappointment when the group attempts to repeat the ritual for them, only to find that their collective energy has been entirely depleted. While the 2 Saiyans feel the weight of being left behind, they resolve to support their allies, knowing that their own time for ascension will eventually come. High above the mortal realm, amidst the floating trees and tranquil waterfalls of his personal sanctuary, Beerus watches the proceedings through the depths of Whis' mystical staff. He reclines on his plush seating, a slice of Earth's savory pizza in hand, yet his expression remains one of mild annoyance at the sight of mortals seemingly taking the easy path to godhood. Whis observes with a knowing smile, his eyes twinkling as he notes the destroyer's underlying intrigue regarding the sudden surge of divine rivals on the blue planet. Beerus mutters about the mockery being made of Godki, though the incredible flavors of the cheese and crust serve to temper his celestial irritation for the time being, as he decides to see how these new gods fare against the machines. Super Saiyan God Goku stands alongside his comrades, the vibrant red aura of his form dancing like solar flares against the darkening sky as they plan their next move. He considers the room of spirit and time for a brief moment, but ultimately decides that mastering this new state through immediate application is more vital than years of isolated training. Beside him, the others focus on the internal sensation of the divine essence, learning to pull the power from deep within their souls without the need for the ritual's external aid. Future Trunks transforms from his base form into Super Saiyan God, Future Trunks. The young warrior's presence becomes terrifyingly vast, his divine power now eclipsing even the seasoned veterans as he prepares to face the mechanical nightmares that destroyed his future. The strategy is simple, yet desperate. They must hunt the androids together and use their combined divine might to dismantle them before the machine's infinite stamina can exhaust them. Black smoke billows on the horizon from a distant, crumbling city, serving as a grim beacon for the heroes as they take flight across the devastated landscape. Super Saiyan God Goku, Super Saiyan God Vegeta, and Super Saiyan God Future Trunks soar through the air, their divine silhouettes cutting through the thick smog of burning buildings and shattered dreams. They arrive just as the mechanical monsters prepare to execute a group of terrified bystanders, landing with a heavy thud that sends cracks racing across the ruined pavement. Android 17 steps forward with a smug, nonchalant grin, brushing a stray lock of black hair from his forehead as he surveys the divine trio with programmed arrogance. He believes himself to be the pinnacle of engineering, an invincible force designed to slaughter the very man who now stands before him with a calm, godly gaze. Super Saiyan God Future Trunks meets the android's stare with a cold, focused intensity, his mind filled with the echoes of the screams from his own dying timeline. The two engage in a blur of blinding motion, their fists colliding with enough force to shatter the windows of nearby skyscrapers while Android 16 and Android 18 watch from the sidelines, seemingly unimpressed. The battle rages across the urban ruins, the metallic scent of oil and pulverized concrete filling the air as Android 17 realizes that Super Saiyan God Future Trunks is his equal in raw strength. However, the android's confidence remains unshaken as he relies on his lack of fatigue to eventually overwhelm the Divine Saiyan through sheer persistence. Seeing the stalemate, Super Saiyan God Vegeta decides he has seen enough and lunges into the fray with a roar of divine fury that echoes off the hollowed-out buildings. Super Saiyan God Vegeta and Super Saiyan God Future Trunks coordinate their strikes with lethal, aristocratic precision, catching Android 17 in a pincer maneuver that leaves no room for escape. With a final, combined burst of crimson energy, they vaporize the android, leaving nothing but a scorch mark and a stunned silence in the air. Android 16 and Android 18 immediately drop their leisure, their programmed nonchalance replaced by a sharp, predatory focus as they realize their brother has been permanently deactivated. They move in unison, their speed increasing as they engage Super Saiyan God Goku, Super Saiyan God Vegeta, and Super Saiyan God Future Trunks in a chaotic, high-stakes melee. The environment becomes a wasteland of flying debris and explosive energy clashes as the three Divine Saiyans push the remaining machines to their absolute limits. Despite the numerical advantage of the Saiyans, the androids' infinite power cores allow them to maintain a relentless, crushing pace that keeps the gods at bay. Suddenly, Gohan and Broly descend from the smoke-filled sky, their faces set in grim determination as they enter the combat zone despite lacking divine forms of their own. Super Saiyan God Goku and Super Saiyan God Vegeta call out for them to retreat, fearing for their lives, but the two newcomers reveal that their proximity to the rituals has fundamentally empowered their natural strength. While they cannot match the androids in raw power, their presence serves as a crucial distraction, throwing off the tactical calculations of the artificial humans in the heat of battle. Gohan and Broly move with surprising agility, weaving through the chaos to provide openings for the primary fighters, their spirits burning with the reflected light of God Ki. Android 16, realizing the tide is turning against them, lunges forward and wraps his massive iron arms around Super Saiyan God Goku in a crushing, inescapable bear hug. A cold, mechanical smirk crosses the giant's face as he announces the presence of a fail-safe bomb buried within his chest, a weapon designed to eradicate everyone in the blast radius. The air grows heavy with the threat of total annihilation, and the other Saiyans freeze in horror, their divine auras flickering in panic as they realize they cannot strike without triggering the explosion. Super Saiyan God Goku struggles against the immovable grip, his mind racing for a solution as the countdown within the android begins to hum with lethal, resonant energy. In a moment of desperate brilliance, Super Saiyan God Goku manages to free one hand and presses two fingers against his forehead, searching for a distant, familiar spark of life. He focuses on a key signature far beyond the earthly realm, and in a flash of light, both he and the mechanical titan vanish from the battlefield in an instant. They reappear on the tiny, grassy world of King Kai, where King Kai jumps in fright at the sudden arrival of a ticking, divine time bomb. Android 16 looks around in total confusion, his sensors unable to identify this strange, miniature planet as he inadvertently pauses the self-destruction sequence in his disorientation. Super Saiyan God Goku seizes the moment of hesitation to grab King Kai, teleporting him back to the safety of Earth before the android can react to the shift in atmosphere. Back on the battlefield, Android 18 is left alone and panicked, her eyes darting between the three remaining gods who now surround her with renewed ferocity. Super Saiyan God Vegeta and Super Saiyan God Future Trunks do not give her a moment to breathe, striking her from both sides with a coordinated assault that sends her spiraling into the upper atmosphere. Together, they unleash a massive heat dome attack, the pillar of incinerating light swallowing the android whole and erasing her from existence forever. The battle is finally over, and the three warriors allow the divine pressure to lift as they rest their weary bodies amidst the smoldering wreckage. Future Trunks transforms from his Super Saiyan God form back into his base form. He stands amidst the rubble, a hollow sense of victory washing over him as he realizes that while this world is safe, his own timeline remains a graveyard of broken dreams. Vegeta transforms from his Super Saiyan God form back into his base form, his expression unreadable as he watches the boy from the future. Goku transforms from his Super Saiyan God form back into his base form, greeting the displaced King Kai with a nervous laugh while promising to fix the mess he made. Years pass in relative peace, though the Saiyans do not allow their skills to atrophy in the quiet of the era, training relentlessly under the distant gaze of Beerus. While Vegeta and Future Trunks focus on deepening their connection to the red-haired divinity, Goku chooses a different path, working to strengthen his original golden transformation through disciplined focus. He believes that by perfecting the lower states, he can unlock a greater efficiency and power within the divine essence itself. Gohan joins him in this pursuit, and through their combined efforts, they stumble upon a new height of power that glows with a cool azure light. Gohan transforms from his base form into Super Saiyan Blue Gohan. As the time for the 25th World Martial Arts Tournament approaches, the Saiyans gather once more, their lives intertwined by training and the occasional oversight of Whis. Gohan adopts the persona of a hero to protect his identity at school, using the unique aura of his blue form to mask his features while performing incredible feats of justice. The tournament begins with a sense of excitement, and the lineup is filled with the world's strongest, including the returned Future Trunks and the gentle Broly. When Super Saiyan Blue Gohan is matched against the mysterious Supreme Kai Shin, he decides to show a glimpse of his true potential to end the match quickly and move on to the next round. The stadium is momentarily silenced by the sheer pressure of the presence of Super Saiyan Blue Gohan, even though the spectators cannot sense the divine ki emanating from the shimmering blue warrior. Supreme Kaishin stands paralyzed with fear, realizing the mortal before him has ascended to a realm far beyond the comprehension of most minor deities. Following this display, the focus shifts to the long-awaited rematch between the two eternal rivals of the Saiyan race who have reached new heights. Goku transforms from his base form into Super Saiyan Goku. Vegeta transforms from his base form into Super Saiyan Vegeta. They clash with a nostalgic, earth-shaking intensity. The battle is interrupted by the arrival of Babidi's servants, but the wizard's plan to steal energy from Majin Buu's resurrection is met with immediate, overwhelming failure. Super Saiyan Vegeta discards his golden form to swat the attackers away with a casual wave of his hand, his eyes filled with annoyance at the interruption. Vegeta transforms from his Super Saiyan form back into his base form. The group is teleported to Babidi's ship, where the wizard attempts to pit them against his strongest champions, only for them to be annihilated in seconds by the Saiyans. Even the Demon King Dabura falls easily to Gohan, and Babidi finds no darkness in their hearts to exploit, as even Vegeta's old malice has been tempered by his journey toward divine mastery. The sun beats down on the manicured lawns of Capsule Corp, where the God of Destruction, Beerus, and his attendant, Whis, lounge in a state of perpetual gluttony. Trays of exquisite delicacies vanish into the maw of the purple deity as he sighs with the contentment of a well-fed predator. Nearby, the air begins to ripple and crackle, with an unnatural energy that sends a chill through the garden. A metallic groan echoes through the sky as a cylindrical vehicle, marked with the familiar corporate logo, manifests out of thin air and settles onto the grass with a heavy thud. Bulma, Vegeta, and Future Trunks rush toward the strange craft, their faces masks of bewilderment and suspicion. Future Trunks recognizes the temporal signature immediately, his heart hammering against his ribs as he confirms the arrival of another time machine. The hatch hisses open, releasing a cloud of cooling vapor that obscures the pilot for a fleeting moment. From the mist emerges a woman who bears the weight of a dying world in her eyes, her presence causing a collective gasp as she identifies herself as another Bulma. Future Trunks feels a rush of overwhelming relief and sorrow as he embraces this version of his mother, while Vegeta and the present Bulma stand frozen in a state of utter confusion. Future Bulma recounts a harrowing tale of a timeline where hope was a flickering candle snuffed out by a biological nightmare. In her reality, Future Trunks never returned from his journey to the past, leaving her to endure the slow eradication of humanity in isolation. She explains that the androids had continued their path of destruction until a new horror, Cell, emerged to consume them and achieve a terrifying perfection. Left with no other choice, she spent years scavenging for fuel and materials to build a second machine, choosing the gamble of temporal flight over the certainty of death on a barren, silent Earth. Beerus stands tall, his ears twitching with an irritation that borders on lethal intent as he contemplates the blatant violation of divine law. The idea of yet another mortal meddling with the flow of time gnaws at his patience, and he briefly considers erasing both versions of Bulma where they stand. Future Trunks steps between the God of Destruction and his mother, his voice trembling but firm, as he takes the full burden of the blame upon himself. Seeing the genuine desperation in their eyes and realizing that the future timeline is already a lost cause, Beerus eventually lowers his hand, his wrath cooling into a begrudging and silent acceptance of the anomaly. Future Bulma shares what little information she gathered from her surveillance drones before fleeing her world, describing a creature that had utterly triumphed over all resistance. While the group grapples with the existence of this distant threat, they remain blissfully unaware of a more immediate danger festering beneath their very feet. Deep underground, within the forgotten ruins of Dr. Gero's laboratory, a different iteration of the biological weapon continues to gestate in a nutrient-filled tank. This hidden entity, referred to as Imperfect Cell, is developing at an accelerated rate thanks to the advanced data gathered by Dr. Gero's persistent subdrones. The machine has not only harvested the DNA of the Saiyans and their rivals, but has also managed to incorporate the essence of the God of Destruction himself. The incubation chamber hums with a dark, divine energy that the sensors can barely contain, marking a significant departure from his original design. Every fiber of Imperfect Cell's being is fused with the secrets of God Ki, creating a predator that far surpasses the expectations of its creator. The glass of the tank shatters as Imperfect Cell awakens years ahead of schedule, his yellow eyes glowing with a newfound and terrible consciousness. He surveys the laboratory and realizes that the androids he was meant to absorb are nowhere to be found, having already been dealt with by the fighters of this era. Rather than feeling a sense of failure, Imperfect Cell feels a surge of predatory excitement at the prospect of remaining in this state. He decides that achieving his perfect form through absorption would make his coming battles too easy, and he embraces his current power as a self-imposed handicap to ensure his own entertainment. Imperfect Cell ascends from the depths of the earth, standing atop a jagged mountain peak and looking down at the sprawling civilizations that have no idea they are about to be judged. He decides to issue a challenge that none can ignore, his grin widening as he prepares a demonstration of his divine heritage. He raises a hand, placing a single finger against his thumb before flicking it forward with the casual indifference of a god. The resulting shockwave is a physical wall of force that flattens every city for miles, sending tremors through the planet's core and alerting every powerful warrior to his location. The warriors descend upon the devastated wasteland, their boots crunching on the pulverized remains of what was once a thriving landscape. At the center of the destruction, they find Imperfect Cell waiting for them, his aura flickering with a familiar and terrifying purple hue. The group feels a sense of dread as they realize this monster carries the very essence of Beerus within his genetic makeup. The air around the mountain is heavy and ionized, making every breath a struggle for the mortals, who have come to face their own reflection in this biological mirror. Goku is the first to step forward, his fighting spirit ignited by the sheer pressure emanating from the creature before him. Goku transforms from his base form to Super Saiyan Blue. The radiant azure flames of God Ki erupt around Super Saiyan Blue Goku, casting long shadows across the debris. Despite the vast power flowing through his veins, Super Saiyan Blue Goku finds that his strikes are easily parried by Imperfect Cell. Imperfect Cell is suppressed and seemingly bored, moving with a grace and speed that leaves Super Saiyan Blue Goku struggling to keep pace. Seeing the struggle of their comrade, the rest of the elite warriors prepare to join the fray with everything they have. The mountain peak is suddenly illuminated by the combined light of 4 divine Saiyan auras: Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta, Super Saiyan Blue Future Trunks, and Super Saiyan Blue Gohan rush inward to assist Super Saiyan Blue Goku, creating a whirlwind of blue and green energy as they attempt to overwhelm Imperfect Cell. Imperfect Cell begins to laugh, his movements becoming a blur of motion that outpaces the coordinated efforts of the 4 warriors. Even as Super Saiyan Blue Goku attempts to use his rapid-fire teleportation and ki discs to create an opening, Imperfect Cell simply regenerates from any minor scrapes and mirrors the technique. Imperfect Cell teleports behind Super Saiyan Blue Goku, delivering a punishing kick that sends him crashing into a nearby cliffside. Before the impact can even register, Imperfect Cell is already there to strike again, treating Super Saiyan Blue Goku, Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta, Super Saiyan Blue Future Trunks, and Super Saiyan Blue Gohan like mere playthings. Realizing that standard divine power is insufficient, Goku decides to gamble with his own life to turn the tide. Super Saiyan Blue Goku activates the Kaioken ×20 technique while in his Super Saiyan Blue form. The blue aura is enveloped by a jagged crimson shroud, and the sheer force of the transformation causes the ground beneath Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken ×20 Goku to liquefy. Even with this massive multiplier, Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken ×20 Goku finds that Imperfect Cell is still holding the upper hand. Imperfect Cell casually deflects the desperate barrages, his confidence only growing as the fighters push themselves toward their breaking points. From the heights of the atmosphere, Beerus watches the battle with a scowl that deepens with every passing second. He is insulted by the sight of a mortal creation wielding his own DNA and potentially mastering the sacred arts of the gods of destruction. The risk of Imperfect Cell learning the Hakai is a variable he is unwilling to tolerate any longer, prompting him to signal to Whis that it is time to intervene. The 2 divine beings descend like falling stars, their presence instantly changing the pressure of the battlefield as they land among the exhausted warriors. In a moment of desperate coordination, the fighters use a solar flare to momentarily blind Imperfect Cell, overwhelming his heightened senses. While Imperfect Cell is incapacitated, the entire group focuses their energy into a single, massive combined blast that engulfs the mountain. The explosion is blinding, and for a moment, hope flickers as Imperfect Cell emerges from the smoke with a missing arm and severe burn marks. However, that hope is quickly extinguished as Imperfect Cell simply grows a new limb, though the slight fatigue in his eyes suggests he does not possess truly infinite stamina. Beerus steps to the front of the line, his usual laziness replaced by a cold and focused killing intent. He reveals that he has been training in secret to ensure no mortal ever surpasses him, and he begins to vent his full power for the first time in eons. The sheer weight of his aura forces the ground to buckle, and the warriors watch in awe as Beerus engages Imperfect Cell in a duel of pure, unadulterated strength. Beerus lands a blow that sends Imperfect Cell reeling, proving that even a god-infused monster is still a step below the source of that power. Beerus realizes that as long as Imperfect Cell draws breath, he will only continue to adapt and grow more dangerous. He raises a palm, and in response, Imperfect Cell mirrors the stance with a terrifyingly perfect imitation. Both combatants begin to gather the dark purple energy of total annihilation, their voices joining in a singular, terrifying cry of Hakai. The collision of the two erasure techniques sends a shockwave through the entire universe, shaking distant galaxies and causing even the Kais to tremble in fear as time itself seems to stutter under the cosmic strain. As the blinding purple glow fades, a deafening silence falls over the deep crater where the battle once raged. Imperfect Cell begins to crumble into dust, his screams of agony cut short as the erasure overtakes his regenerative capabilities. To the horror of the onlookers, the same purple energy begins to consume Beerus, who watches his own hands fade away with a look of somber acceptance. Beerus turns his gaze toward Future Trunks, his pride finally giving way to a moment of genuine humanity. Beerus whispers a single, final apology before both he and Imperfect Cell vanish into nothingness, leaving Whis to watch over the silent wasteland alone. Dust and debris settle over the scarred remains of the battlefield, where a heavy, unnatural silence replaces the roar of combat that previously shook the foundations of the earth. The Z-Fighters stand frozen in a state of profound shock, their eyes wide and unblinking as they stare at the empty, scorched space where Beerus once stood before he erased himself to permanently stop the evolving threat of Cell. Future Trunks feels a cold, echoing hollow in his chest, the weight of the God of Destruction's ultimate sacrifice pressing down on him as he realizes the magnitude of the cosmic void left behind. The sky above is a bruised and swirling purple, reflecting the sudden disappearance of a divine power that had governed their universe for eons, leaving the mortals to wonder what becomes of a world that has lost its most fearsome protector. High above the mortal realm on the sacred world of the Kais, Elder Kai watches in paralyzing horror as Supreme Kai Shin suddenly vanishes into thin air, leaving behind only his divine robes for a fleeting second before they too flutter into nothingness. The Elder Mentor realizes with a jolt of terror that the life link between the Supreme Kai and the God of Destruction has claimed his counterpart, leaving the celestial hierarchy in a state of total, unprecedented disarray. Wind howls through the ancient, towering trees of the sacred realm, a mournful and haunting sound that mirrors Elder Kai's internal panic as he realizes he is now the highest-ranking deity left active in the entire universe. He stands alone amidst the rolling green hills and the shimmering waters of the divine planet, the staggering responsibility of maintaining cosmic balance suddenly thrust upon his shoulders. Elder Kai teleports to the surface of Earth, appearing amidst the grieving and exhausted Z-Fighters with a somber expression that immediately dampens any flickering hope for a quick reversal of their grim fate. He explains to the gathered warriors that because Beerus utilized the Hakai on his own existence, the standard Dragon Balls of Earth and Namek are entirely powerless to bring him or Supreme Kai Shin back from the absolute void. The atmosphere grows even heavier as the heroes process the fact that their divine protector is not just dead, but has been completely erased from the very tapestry of existence, leaving no soul to reclaim. Future Trunks listens intently to every word, his brow furrowed and his jaw set, as he considers the dangerous vacuum of power that now threatens the stability of all 12 universes. Elder Kai addresses the group with a desperate sense of urgency, stating that the universe cannot function indefinitely without a God of Destruction to maintain the delicate equilibrium between life and death. He surveys the powerful and battle-hardened fighters before him, noting their divine training under the late Beerus, and asks if anyone is willing to step forward as a temporary candidate for the vacant throne. Future Trunks hesitates for a moment, his heart hammering against his ribs as he recalls his previous resentment toward the perceived negligence of the gods and his own desire for a more proactive leadership. With a deep, steadying breath that draws the attention of all his friends, Future Trunks steps forward and offers himself for the role, his voice carrying a resolve that masks his internal nervousness. Elder Kai acknowledges Future Trunks' offer with a solemn nod but warns that the process of official promotion is incredibly complex and requires him to conduct extensive research and eventually contact the terrifying Xeno himself. Before departing to the Celestial Archives, Elder Kai explains that a new God of Destruction might be the only way to reactivate Whis, who has likely entered a state of stasis or returned home following the loss of his divine charge. Future Trunks watches the Elder Kai vanish into a shimmer of light, feeling the immense weight of his new path settle over him like a physical, heavy cloak that he can never truly cast aside. He spends his remaining time on Earth with the Bulma from his original timeline, who offers him a gentle and tearful forgiveness that helps soothe the jagged guilt he carries for the loss of his own world. In the cold, shimmering expanse of space, Champa and Vados cross the invisible border into Universe 7, their arrival marked by a subtle but unmistakable shift in the cosmic currents. Champa looks around with a hungry, predatory gaze, searching for the Super Dragon Balls but feeling an unsettling and eerie lack of the familiar, annoying pressure of his brother's arrogant energy. Vados glides silently beside him, her staff glowing with a faint blue light as she attempts to contact Whis, only to meet an echoing silence that confirms her brother has become inactive. Champa's usual arrogance is briefly replaced by a flicker of genuine, uncharacteristic concern, as he wonders what catastrophic event could have befallen Beerus and what it might mean for the safety of their twin universes. Champa descends upon a vibrant and unsuspecting Earth city, his purple form and regal, ancient attire drawing gasps of terror and confusion from the mortals who scurry beneath his shadow. He storms through the busy streets with an insatiable and demanding appetite, sneaking gourmet delicacies from street vendors and high-end restaurants without a single thought for the concepts of local currency or property. Vados follows at a polite distance, watching with a detached and slightly amused curiosity as her master threatens anyone who dares to question his authority or his refusal to pay for his mountain of food. The news quickly spreads across the globe, reporting a mysterious fat purple cat causing havoc in the metropolis, which immediately catches the attention of the Z-Fighters who fear the return of an erratic and hungry Beerus. Goku, Vegeta, and future Trunks arrive on the scene within minutes, their senses heightened and their bodies tensed as they prepare for a potential confrontation with the divine being terrorizing the city. They find Champa amidst a staggering pile of empty food containers and discarded wrappers, his round face smeared with exotic sauces as he eyes the newcomers with a mixture of boredom and gluttonous irritation. Vados stands nearby, her elegant and serene presence contrasting sharply with the messy chaos her master has wrought upon the urban landscape of Earth. The warriors realize quickly that this is not Beerus, but a different deity altogether, one who carries a similar aura of destruction but possesses a far more impatient and petulant temperament. Champa reveals his true identity as the God of Destruction from Universe 6 and learns of Beerus's permanent erasure, a revelation that prompts him to set aside his search for the Super Dragon Balls in favor of a much more urgent goal. He decides to use the planet-sized orbs to restore his brother, partially out of a hidden sibling affection, and partially to avoid the catastrophic wrath of Zeno should the King of All discover the vacancy. Vados leads the group into the deep, dark reaches of space, where the 7 golden spheres have been gathered, their immense size dwarfing the heroes as they prepare for the ancient ritual of summoning. The dragon Super Shenron is called forth, his colossal, golden form filling the void of space with a light so brilliant and divine that it rivals the birth of 1,000 suns. The wish is granted with a thunderous resonance, and in a flash of divine light, Beerus and Supreme Kai-Shin are restored to life, their essences pulled back from the brink of nothingness by the power of the ultimate dragon. Whis instantly awakens from his stasis on the God of Destruction's planet, his lavender eyes snapping open as he retains his vital connection to the living world, and his staff pulses with renewed energy. Beerus is initially confused and indignant at his sudden return, but his expression softens slightly when he realizes Champa was the one responsible for his restoration, even if his brother tries to hide the gesture behind a barrage of insults. The bickering between the two brothers resumes almost immediately, restoring a sense of noisy normalcy to the cosmos as the threat of permanent erasure finally fades into the past. Beerus learns of future Trunks' willingness to serve as his successor during the long period of his absence, and finds himself genuinely impressed by the young man's dedication to the safety of the universe. He decides to reward this initiative and show of character by officially naming future Trunks as a God of Destruction candidate, promising to oversee the Saiyans' training with a newfound, albeit stern, respect. Future Trunks accepts the honor with a solemn and deep bow, knowing that his life is now irrevocably tied to the divine order he once viewed with such bitterness and skepticism. Champa and Vados depart for Universe 6, leaving Universe 7 in a state of hard-earned peace that will last for several years as the heroes focus on their individual growth and the mastery of their powers. A significant amount of time passes in tranquility, during which the universe is spared from the devastating conflicts involving Zamasu and the Tournament of Power, allowing the Z-Fighters to lead relatively quiet and prosperous lives. Vegeta navigates a bizarre and often awkward family dynamic with 2 versions of Bulma and his 2 sons, while Goku finds a simple and honest satisfaction in his work as a successful and wealthy radish farmer. Future Trunks spends the vast majority of these years on Beerus's planet, enduring the grueling and soul-crushing lessons of the Destroyer and the Angel to master the lethal techniques required of a god. The long-standing tranquility is eventually shattered when the Angel Vados arrives on Earth, bringing an urgent warning against an ancient and terrible sorcerer named Moro. On the distant and parched world of Nunamek, the ancient wizard Moro successfully uses the local Dragon Balls to restore his magical potency, sending a wave of dark, malevolent energy rippling through the stars. On Beerus's planet, Future Trunks feels the immediate shift in the cosmic atmosphere, his skin crawling as he senses the immense power of a predator who feasts on the very life force of entire planets. Beerus and Whis watch the horrifying events unfold through the Angel Staff, observing as Goku and Vegeta struggle against the sorcerer's ability to drain their energy and leave them withered. Future Trunks begs for the chance to intervene, his sense of duty as a candidate burning more brightly than ever, but Beerus initially refuses the request, fearing a repeat of the self-destructive encounter they once had with Cell. Goku begins intensive training with Vados within a specialized, time-dilated chamber to understand the foundations of a divine state that allows the body to react without a single thought, while Vegeta travels to the distant planet Yardrat to learn the secrets of spirit control. Back on the world of the gods, Future Trunks continues to watch the systematic devastation of dozens of planets, his frustration mounting as he sees the mounting toll Moro is taking on the innocent lives of the universe. Whis reveals that Vados is actually his own sister, a secret that shocks Future Trunks and emphasizes the incredibly high stakes of the battle currently raging in the mortal realm. Finally, seeing the unyielding resolve in his student's eyes, Beerus begrudgingly grants Future Trunks permission to enter the fight, provided he agrees to retreat if the situation becomes too dangerous. The forces of Moro launch a full-scale assault on Earth, forcing the remaining Z-Fighters to rally together for a desperate and bloody defense of their home against the sorcerer's elite scouts. Piccolo and Krillin struggle against the overwhelming numbers and the strange abilities of the invaders, but the arrival of Gohan provides a much-needed surge of hope as he confronts the dangerous copy android 7-3. Gohan shifts from his base form into his Ultimate Gohan form. The air around Ultimate Gohan becomes sharp and perfectly still, his eyes narrowing with a cold and lethal intensity that signals the absolute end of his mercy for the mechanical threat. Without wasting a single moment, Ultimate Gohan delivers a devastating light-speed strike that obliterates 7-3, forcing the remaining invaders to retreat in sheer terror. Moro is deeply displeased by the loss of his most useful scout, but decides to allow the Earthlings more time to grow stronger, so that their energy will provide a more succulent and powerful meal for him later. Future Trunks watches this development from the Divine Realm, his jaw set in a firm, unwavering line as he prepares for the final, decisive confrontation with the ancient Planet Eater. He asks Whis for any small advantage he can provide, and while the Angel cannot legally fight, he offers to transport Future Trunks directly to the source of the threat to ensure a swift conclusion. Beerus gives his student one last, uncharacteristically serious warning about the dangers of Moro's energy absorption, reminding Future Trunks that he is the chosen future of Universe 7 and cannot be lost to the void. Whis transports Future Trunks to the cold, silent outskirts of the universe, where Moro's massive, jagged ship looms like a dark monument to the sorcerer's cruelty against the stars. The Angel taps his staff against the vacuum, creating a shimmering, translucent, spherical barrier that provides a pocket of breathable atmosphere for the warrior to function in the airless expanse. Future Trunks transitions from his base form into his Super Saiyan Future Trunks form. The golden fire of Super Saiyan Future Trunks erupts with a thunderous roar, illuminating the dark, metallic hull of the enemy vessel as he prepares his opening move with lethal precision. With a violent and focused thrust of his arms, Super Saiyan Future Trunks unleashes a concentrated beam of golden energy that shears through the ship like a hot blade, causing a series of internal explosions that light up the silent vacuum. Moro emerges from the burning wreckage of his ship, his ancient wicked eyes widening as he senses the overwhelming divine power emanating from the golden warrior who stands before him in the void. He attempts to swallow a massive, glowing sphere of energy that Super Saiyan Future Trunks hurls at him, only to find the projectile as a hollow shell designed to mask the warrior's true, lightning-fast movements. Before Moro can adjust his stance, Super Saiyan Future Trunks appears directly behind him, his palm glowing with a terrifying and destructive purple light that signals the end of the sorcerer's long life. Hakai, Super Saiyan Future Trunks, whispers with a voice that carries the weight of a god, and the ancient sorcerer is consumed by the erasure, his body turning to fine ash that scatters into the infinite blackness of space. With the threat extinguished, a new era of friendly competition begins between Goku, Vegeta, and Super Saiyan Future Trunks, as Beerus watches with a prideful smirk, confident that he has truly found the perfect successor.